And now it's time for Silly Songs with Brager, the part of the show where Brager comes out and sings a silly song. Today, you are joining me in my car. I'm recording this in my car. I've done several of these videos recently, and I've talked only about vinyl, which I will continue to, but I'm taking a break today to talk about CDs. Specifically, this being in my car edition, the CDs that I've had sitting in my car for years. I've had a lot of these same CDs sitting in my previous car, and then I just moved them over and they're still in here, and I don't listen to them much. In fact, some of them I've barely listened to at all, so it's not fair reviews at all. Yeah, they were sitting in my previous car. I moved them into this one when I got this a few years ago. I've had a lot of these CDs for years. And I'm just going to talk about a few of them, however many I feel like, until I get bored or run out of time. I'm kind of waiting in line somewhere right now, just sitting here. So, I'll just get started. This first one I'm going to talk about is the 15th annual 1 Week Live. 1 Week Live. This is a series of CDs. They put one out, I think, every year. Probably not for COVID. In fact, this is either coming up again here soon in my hometown, or it will be, or if it hasn't already, very soon it will be. They do this every year, like I said. This is volume 15. It was recorded between September 19th and 24th of 2016. I don't really remember where I got it. I probably bought it at Uso's Concert Cafe. At the time that it was new, around the time it was new. It would have been probably $10 or something. I've actually listened to this one a number of times in the past. In fact, pretty recently I put it on and listened through the entire thing on shuffle. There's some good tracks on it. It's a lot of different bands. I don't like all of it, but a lot of it is good. City of Duluth has a lot of good music, and this region. There's a lot of good stuff, and has been on and off for years. This is the volume 15 to give you an idea of how long they were doing this. It's 2016, so 2001 I guess was probably the first one. So it used to be called Beaner's Central. They changed the name to Wuso's Concert Cafe because Beaner's is insensitive. At least I think that's why. Jason's been running this place since I want to say the end of the 90s. The first time I ever played music live in public was at, we'll call it Wuso's. That was in 2002, my first band. We played an open mic at Wuso's. I've played open mics there since too. Not any recently, but a few times over the years. I have played other open mics there. Never a proper gig there. Not that I recall. Just open mics here and there across the years. It's a good place. It's a fun coffee shop. They have beer and wine, espresso, sandwiches. It's a staple of West Duluth. A nice place. Relatively small. All sorts of different music. He really supports local music. And it's kind of cool, this 1 week live thing that they do every year. Because they'll have an entire week where I think every day of the week they will have another show with a handful of local artists, local musicians, which is cool. You know, it's like a festival, a week-long festival, all taking place on individual shows at Wusos, though. That's pretty neat, and I think they probably put out a CD every year. They do like a soundboard recording of all the bands, and they'll pick tracks and throw them on these compilations. And I've seen a lot of these bands live elsewhere, sometimes at Wusos, sometimes other places. In fact, I could talk about some of the artists on here. Some I don't know too well. What's the track that's currently on? I don't know if you can hear it in the background. It's called Bulletproof Vest by Ingeborg von Agassiz. And she was my piano teacher for a couple of years, so shout out to Emma, Ingeborg von Agassiz. Really good stuff. I was a fan first. I'd seen her live a couple times. I've seen her several times now, I think. And then took piano lessons from her once a week for a year and a half or something. I don't recall exactly. Learned a whole lot. Very knowledgeable. She's a pro. Super talented. Good music. Not just super knowledgeable, but also really talented, good songwriter all around. Props to Emma. Let's see. In fact, I'll talk about her first album too. Maybe not today, but other standout acts on here. Red Mountain was kind of an epic band, large band, focused around one songwriter, had backup singers and everything. Kind of epic indie rock. Woodblind is on here, makes sense. Jason Wuso, who owns Wuso's Concert Cafe, that's his band, it's a duo. They're kind of fun. I don't love it, but some of it's pretty good. I definitely like some of it. Let's see. Jillian Ray played on this particular week. I believe she was in a Duluth band called Too Many Banjos that I really liked and saw many times. It revolved around a single songwriter in Duluth who's a really talented guy. He's played in a ton of bands. She played with them at one point and then moved to the Twin Cities, does her own music. Don't know what she's up to anymore. A la Mode is also currently on in the background now. Now I don't think exist anymore. Not that I know of. Could be wrong. The frontman was the singer and guitarist for a band called... Oh God, that's sad. I can't remember. They had a song called The Rose Man that I knew. It was sort of this indie rock, almost like... Sorry. I don't know if I want to say post-rock. Just more of a kind of an indie rock band. Whereas A la Mode was sort of more of a dance rock band. Sort of funky. Different style. And they're alright. I saw them a few times and I liked it alright. I think I liked the other band better, whose name escapes me. But it was a long time ago. Years ago. Who else can I touch on? Dan Dresser plays on this particular 1 week live. He's kind of a staple at Wusos. Mr. Doctor, that was a duo between two singer-songwriters. I kind of doubt they're doing it anymore, but I'm sure they're both active. Well, I'm sure at least Dave is. Dave Mailing is the guy that I went to high school with. He's a talented guy. He's done a bunch of projects, and he also is kind of a staple at Wusos for a long time. Let's see. I'll mention also Electric Witch, another sort of a duo of, not sort of, is a duo consisting of two other Duluth staples. Mary Bew, who is a Oh yeah, singer-songwriter from Duluth, who had her own band, The Holy Bones. She's played in Duluth a long time. Still does, I think. I think she lived in Seattle at one point. Funny enough, I was in Seattle briefly, Seattle, Washington, and I go to some coffee shop or bar, and I saw Mary Bew play. What are the odds? I've never met her. I don't know her personally. And the other half of Electric Witch, if I remember correctly, is Zach Bentz, who is an outstanding Duluth musician. His music's not for everyone. Electric Witch is electronic based, but a little more in the vein of traditional music than Zach Bentz's other project, Dirty Knobs. He's been in other bands too, but his primary project is Dirty Knobs, which I think is great. It's drone music, more sophisticated than the drone music I do personally, which we're not talking about. But yeah, his stuff is good. Very avant-garde though. I mean, it's drone, synthesizer type music, sometimes very long form. I do own one of his albums, Dirty Knobs. He did this one. He's done a ton of albums, and one of the albums that he did was called Field Recordings from the Edge of Hell, and it's like 8 hours long. So I bought it on Bandcamp, downloaded the files, put them on my phone, and I had gone on this road trip to the state of Virginia. And so one of the things I listened to on the very long car ride by myself was I listened to Field Recordings from the Edge of Hell by Dirty Knobs from start to finish. The entire thing, because it's a really long drive. I listen to lots of other stuff too. I listened to High Violet by The National. I listened to Dan Carlin's podcast, Hardcore History. There was one on the Anabaptists, and another one I listened to on the way back about the Mongol invaders. Good stuff. But yeah, it was with the bonus track. I think it's 8.5 hours of drone music, like dark electronic drone music. It was good stuff. I only listened to it that one time, I have to admit. Maybe I'll go back eventually and listen to it again, because I did like it, but it's pretty big undertaking to listen to 8 hours of music. You know, normally you do that in chunks, but I pretty much listened to it straight through. Maybe it took 2 days. Maybe I didn't do it all in one day, but yeah. I think he, after that, eventually did like a 24-hour drone, though. Super crazy. Good stuff, though. Check him out. Zach Bentz, Dirty Knobs. Worth checking out if you're into unusual music or avant-garde stuff. So I think I'll wrap up on that was a rabbit trail. There's a lot of those when I make these videos. I'll stop talking about 1 week live. Maybe I'll touch on something else. Why don't I put it in my car and listen to it while I talk about it? This is going to be a CD that I only ever listened to one time. That I think, you know, it's not something I really spent time with. Not something at all I really spent time with. There are at least two CDs in my car right now. That I got from my friend Jay. Maybe it was just the 2 that he had gotten for free. He had played with one of the bands, not this one. And yeah, he just gifted him to me because he had them, which was nice. And this is an EP by a band called Daytripper. He probably gave it to me in like 2016, 17. Maybe it was earlier than that. Could have been. Don't recall exactly. Sort of a hardcore band. 2013 is when this came out, but I didn't get it right when it came out. Yeah, shout out to Jay. I used to play music with him a little bit. Met him in high school. We had mutual friends. Super talented musician. Good guy. I miss you, Jay. Yeah, he gave me this one, Daytripper, and 2 Comes Clarity. So free, can't beat free. I think one of the guys in this band, and this is probably how we got it, probably got it for free. I think one of the guys in this band, kind of like showing off my knowledge of Duluth music now. So first of all, Daytripper, I believe, are based out of the Twin Cities, or were. I kind of doubt that they're a band anymore. But you could go to daytripperminneapolis.bandcamp.com, so they are based in Minneapolis. See if they're still active. I kind of doubt it. So, yeah, it's like metalcore. And one of the guys in this band, I was saying, Mikey, he played in a lot of Duluth bands. I think he's from Duluth. I saw him a lot, like in my teens, playing in bands, even early 20s. He was a friend of Jay's. Him and Jay played in this band called Ty Cobb. It was like kind of this pretty cool metalcore band with local Duluth thing. I had their t-shirt. I bought it when I saw Ty Cobb play, the only time I ever saw them. They played a lot of shows in Duluth for the brief time they were together, I think. I only ever saw them once. I saw them in like 2011 maybe, at Clyde Ironworks. It was a cool venue. But yeah, Mikey was in that band, Mikey's in this band, or was in this band. Music's not bad. You know, it's like metal stuff. Yeah, sad to admit, I really only ever listened to this maybe one time. But it's sitting in here in case I feel like it again. You know, I don't listen to these car CDs a lot. Because not only do I, well, not listen to CDs that much in general, but I mean, we live in the age of streaming. When I'm in my car, I'm streaming music. Disconnected to my car. Not disconnected, just connected. So these CDs don't get a lot of love. Have to admit it. What else will I talk about? I don't have much to say about Daytripper. Sorry. Another compilation here. This one is called Yep Rock 2018. So I guess I got this in 2018. I don't even know if I ever listened to this one all the way through, if I'm honest. Should we put it on for seconds? Sure. And again, wow, I'm so great at talking about where my music came from and my relationship to it. I keep doing these reviews or videos where I'm like, I don't know where I got it. I don't know what I paid for it. Well, I'm confident I did not pay for this because I don't think I would have. It's just some random-ass compilation of like folky, like folk and country type stuff. Maybe bluegrass things. Maybe I listened to it all the way through. I must have got it in 2018 or somewhere thereabouts. I don't know, picked it up at a venue maybe. Don't have a memory, but I tried putting it on not that long ago in the car I was riding around, and honestly, I don't think it lasted very long in the CD player. I did not care for it much. Most of the stuff on here I don't really care for. But have I really given it a fair chance? Well, maybe not. Probably should. Should I though? Who cares? It's just a CD that was probably free. Yep Rock 2018. Is it even from Minnesota? Why should I think it is? I don't know. It has Doc Watson on. I guess this is Yep Rock Records. Never heard of them, some small label. But they put out something by Doc Watson. That's kind of cool. And I can confess I have never heard any of the rest of these. I don't know who they are. Doesn't matter. Just one of those random car CDs. I'm going to take it out. That was plenty. Because I got other stuff to talk about. Next, I will talk about a CD from my collection that I just put on. Maybe I wasn't even planning on doing this video until today. I just put this CD in like maybe last week, maybe the week before. It was pretty recently. Local band, Iron Range Outlaw Brigade. Don't know if they're still active. They were for a long time. I'm sure they're cool dudes. Johnny, who plays a steel slide guitar in this, he also plays with Brianne Marie, who my friend Matt Shalene played with. He's a talented guy. What else can I say? Yeah, they're local. They're called Iron Range, but I think they're based here in Duluth, possibly in the Iron Range or both. This was another CD that I got from Jay. He gave this to me when he gave me Daytripper. He probably got this for free from Kirk, the frontman's Kirk. Oh, and Jared from Nectarmancer. He, I think he knows Johnny. I think he had talked about collaborating with him or something. Which would have been cool. This was recorded at Sparta Sound, I can see, because it has the logo on the back. That is an Iron Range-based studio run by Rich Mattson, who plays in Rich Mattson and the North Stars, Tired Eyes, plenty of other stuff in this region where I live. Owns his own studio. Writes music. Plays with Jermaine Gemberling, his partner, who also, I believe, writes music. She's a singer, guitarist. Plays with North Stars, I think. Does her own stuff. Yeah, when I put this CD on the other day, I didn't listen to the whole thing. Listened to just a little bit. I gotta admit, I don't like talking shit. I didn't really care for this. I even heard a friend refer to it as that shitty country band. I don't know, the songs aren't bad. His singing's pretty awful. I mean, they know they're like pretty rough sounding. I mean, how would I describe it? Scrappy sounding. I don't know what the word I would use. It's outlaw country. It's not the worst. The songs are okay. The singing's pretty bad. I mean, it's outlaw country. It's not like, you know, if they were still, I don't know if they are, if they're still together, it's not like I would never see them. I saw them maybe a couple of times. I saw them back in like, maybe like 2010, somewhere thereabouts, at a homegrown, playing at a venue that no longer exists in the basement of Fitger's complex. I think it was called the Rex at the time. The Rex closed not that long ago. And at that time, that was the only time I ever saw them with Jay. Jay played banjo with the Iron Range Outlaw Brigade at one point for a little while. And when I saw he was playing guitar, and I asked him about it, because he was playing electric guitar with them, and he said he could solo better on guitar. No doubt true. I never really saw him play banjo much, but I know he did for a little while. Duluth had a reputation for banjo. I don't know if this band ever had any banjo in it. There was sort of a... Duluth has always been sort of like a folk, acoustic type place. I think that's sort of the cliche of music, although there's lots of rock and roll too. I mean, there's a little of everything here. It's pretty eclectic, which is cool. Banjo became kind of a cliche, although it had been pointed out that there really aren't or even weren't that many bands in Duluth with banjo. I had a banjo and played a little while. The band that me, Matt, and Jared were in before Nectarmancer, which we were the core of this other band called Darkwater Arrival for a while. And earlier on in that band, me and one of the other guys that played with us, Bo, we played banjo in it. There was banjo in that one. There have been a number of bands or artists in Duluth that did play banjo. It was sort of trendy for a minute. Still are banjos in some Duluth stuff. You don't see it a lot, but it's out there. Iron Range Outlaw Brigade. Not one that's going to be in my CD player much. Yeah, I'm skipping through the tracks now. I don't really have much more to say about them. It's kind of fun, rowdy stuff. I guess it'd be fun at the bar when you're getting drunk or whatever. It's not like they have no merits. I don't want to totally talk shit 100%. Let's take that out of the CD player. We'll talk about something different. Only ever saw Jay play with Iron Range Outlaw Brigade the one time. Only ever once. Two of his bands I only ever saw play with him once. We didn't keep in close contact, and we don't now. I mean, it was kind of on and off throughout the years, but he's a good friend. I love Jay. Which is why I didn't see all of his bands. Okay. Just demo here. This is one they were handing out, Hurricane Joe. Pretty confident this band doesn't exist anymore. I saw them one time. I couldn't tell you how long they were a band together. I met the drummer's mom one time. My piano teacher did this adult recital, and her friend showed up. Her friend was a recorder player, and she told me her son was the drummer in Hurricane Joe, and I was like, oh, I've seen them. Yeah, so this band I saw play one time at another venue that doesn't exist anymore. It's called the Red Herring. It was actually a pretty popular music venue and bar for a while in Duluth. But they closed. I played a show with this band when I played solo years ago. This was like, I don't know, 6 years ago, somewhere in that time frame. I did not know these guys. They were one of the bands on the bill. The point of that event was, I think this local guy from Duluth, Ben, rented out the venue for the night. It's like a private event. He was raising funds for... Oh shit, hold on. I think I have it on. Ben was raising funds for this thing he was putting on called Extreme Laxation Festival. And so he asked if I wanted to play on it. I just coincidentally happened to be... I bought this from him. This t-shirt. It says all the... I probably paid like $15 for it, even though I played at this one. Got rot. These are the bands that played. Cock ESP were there, and I didn't even stay for it. What's wrong with me? Yeah, so I played this fundraiser show for... Where did I have this? I played this fundraiser along with Hurricane Joe and a couple other bands. And I think he's still doing it. And a young guy that did ventriloquism. So I can say that I played with on the same gig as a ventriloquist one time. What a world. In fact, it showed up on my Facebook newsfeed not long ago, the flyer for this show, which was pretty good. I didn't know any of the bands that played on this. Ricky Sci-Fi played, that's right, one of Ben's bands, and Kevin. Was that their first show? Maybe, maybe not. It was an early one. They're pretty ridiculous. I want to say when I saw Hurricane Joe, and maybe my memory is wrong, they had the same vocalist that was in... It's ridiculous that I know this stuff, but maybe not if I'm not getting it right. They had the same vocalist that played in possibly Southpaw, and I think Blue Water Dance. Ashton was his name. Don't know the guy personally, but I'm familiar with Duluth music, so creepily enough, I know of people that I've never even had a conversation with. But this demo is instrumental. Don't remember when I saw them if they had a vocalist or not. I want to say they did. I want to say Ashton was in it. This demo is actually not bad. It's sort of like a metalcore sort of thing. They did not have a vocalist for the demo. It was decent. I only ever listened to the demo a few times. But it is pretty solid for that sort of music. But yeah, sadly they do not exist anymore. Southpaw, another local band, does exist. And I saw them play live a year or two ago. And it was cool. It was instrumental, sort of metalcore. But I liked it. And they're still active as far as I know. I'd like to see them again. Shout out Southpaw. Don't know the guys personally. It's funny that they had me play at that gig with that fundraiser though, because not that many people even showed up, and I clear the room. I mean, my music's so loud. There's just a few faithful kids in there, just like 2 or 3 brave souls that sat in there. I even made the bartender leave. It was so fucking loud. That's what I do. So yeah, what a way to make money for your event. We'll put on something else. I will talk about another local band that I have in the car. All local music, huh? Almost. Not all, but mostly. Gotta support the local stuff. Gotta buy their CDs and stuff. So this one is a band called Ire Wolves. Based out of my hometown. Probably still active. Shows how much I follow Duluth music. You know, I used to follow the local music scene quite a bit more. I used to go to a lot of shows, less so now. I guess that's how you know you're getting old. But I bought this Ire Wolves CD at one of their shows. Was it the album release for this CD? Probably not. I shouldn't say that. I don't know. It was a show at RT Quinlan's, a venue that exists in Duluth and has existed for quite a long time, I think. And I've seen a lot of live music there, spent a lot of time there. It's a dive, it's a good place. This is sort of I think they called it sludge metal. It's sort of what I would call like a post-metal album. I probably paid like $10. I didn't pay anything for that demo, by the way. They're that Hurricane Joe one. They were just promoting themselves with that. You know, it's a burned CD. I did buy the Ascetic by Ire Wolves. This one is a good album. I listened to it numerous times. I had it on and playing in my car for a long time. Shortly after I got it. This came out in 14. I probably bought it in like somewhere with probably 2014 or 15. I bought this. Probably paid, I think I'm repeating myself now, 10 or 15 bucks. I stayed for most of the show. I didn't stay to the end of the show that I bought this at, but they had their merch out on a table. So I dropped off the money for it, grabbed it on the way out. Because sometimes I just wander out of shows randomly early. This was one that I was at by myself. I used to go to shows alone a lot, which is kind of sad. But I've seen Ire Wolves play a few times. And Duluth is small. My best friend Nick, he works with the bass player in this band. Now, I think at least a couple of the guys in Ire Wolves used to play in another Duluth band called Portraits, I'm going to get the name wrong, Portraits of Judith, which was also sort of a hard rock or metal band. Yeah, and then at some point they became Ire Wolves and sort of more of this, again, what I might call post-metal. Sludge metal is fair too. A guy that I used to work with, James, who had like he was like a 7-string guitar. He was a guitar player, wanted to play with the band. He played with them briefly. They had been looking for a second guitarist for a long time because they're a three-piece. And they'd been looking for another guitarist, and at one point he was in the band, and I guess they kicked him out because he wasn't good enough or something. Anyway, that same friend, I actually will mention this same guy. Talk about him again in another video, possibly in the future. So one other thing about Ire Wolves, yeah, Nick works with the bassist, and looking at the back, and this was recorded and co-produced by Ryan Rush, who is currently, and for years now, has been half of the band, well, not really half, but a creative force behind the band Reflectivore, which are also almost in the same vein of Ire Wolves, except not as metal, maybe. Sort of like very emotionally charged, sort of rock music. Reflectivore. I don't own any of their albums. I'm just bringing them up because Ryan produced the Ascetic. Ire Wolves has since put out another one. I think this is their second album. I know there's a third. I don't know how many more besides that. I have not kept up with it. irewolves.bandcamp.com if you want to check out their stuff or buy their stuff. I'll say that. I'll give them the plug. I think it's good stuff. I don't know the guys personally. I don't think I've ever met any of them. But they've been involved in the local music scene a long time. So, shall we move on? What else do I want to talk about? I think I'll maybe just talk about one more. The the last one I'll talk about, the last car CD I'm going to talk about today, is by somebody that I talked about at the beginning of this video. This is a long one, because I'm covering a lot of stuff. Pull it out. I'm going to put this one on. I don't even know if it's going to be, if the audio is going to show up in the background or to what extent. So, this is by Ingeborg von Agassiz, O Giver of Dreams. This is the first album that she put out. She was working on this, I suppose, and released it while I was still her piano student. That's my personal relationship to the album, because again, this is about my relationship to the music, which maybe in some way you can relate to. I got this when I supported her. She crowdfunded this album. That's part of how it was made, and I donated to that. Tried to donate anonymously, but I'm an idiot, so I used my email address, so she figured out it was me. So I got a t-shirt, which was cool. I wore it, it shrunk in the wash. I gave it to my wife. Well, she had described it. Emma had described it as kind of girly. And this one, special, because, hey, she signed it for me. Isn't that nice? Gold Sharpie, how cool. This is, like I said earlier, she wasn't just my piano teacher. I was a fan. I was a fan of her music. And she had a positive write-up in our local paper, too, by a guy who was a local rock musician. I think this was very popular locally. You know, she's a pro. She gigs, of all places here in Duluth. She works. She gigs regularly, has been for years. I'm sure she put a ton of work into this album, and it shows, it pays off, because it is an excellent album. And I'm not just saying that because she was my piano teacher. I mean, it really was very good. I really have listened to this a lot. I spent a lot of time in my car, and I ripped it. I've listened to it on my phone too, since phone listening is the world now. It's pretty dark. A lot of this album is pretty dark, and which I thought was kind of interesting because as a teacher, she didn't come off that way as a person, but like, I don't know. I can't talk about her personally. I only ever knew her in a professional context. And I was a fan. You know, I'd seen her play. And what can I say about it? She's a super talented piano player. And it's interesting because, is it though? Last time I saw her was, I believe, for Homegrown last year. She played at this venue called The Flame, and it was packed because Duluth Homegrown is a super popular thing, super popular festival, and it was like a Friday or Saturday night. So this place was just like packed to the gills. And she didn't play any of the older stuff, which is okay. It's cool that she had new music. It was all electronic, and she didn't play a lot of keys. There wasn't too much of that. A lot of her stuff is programmed. It's electronic based. I think she does all of it herself. I mean, I'll read it here. We already listened to this song. Written, performed, produced. She did it all. She uses a loop station when she plays live to layer stuff. She programs the beats. It's really solid. Totally a pro. You know, the thing that is really the beginning and end of music is, well, not all music, but music typically, in general, is the song. And she's a good songwriter, so that's, you know, that's really where it comes from. But she did a good job on it. Multi-talented person. She does the visual art too. She paints. She made like zines too for the people that crowdfunded it. So I got one of those. I believe I still have it. I think I could even dig that out if I wanted to. Where it tells her story a little bit. She is from a small town in Minnesota. The songs in general are really pretty good on this. On this one that I'm listening to right now, Sun Beats Down, is cool. Oh, the Hillside, I think, is really beautiful. What else? Oh, Giver of Dreams it's pretty haunting stuff. Her album after this one, which I don't own, is called Coventry Carols. It's an album of Christmas music. And I knew she liked Christmas music, but I think it's pretty cool that she did that because I love Christmas music. And it's original stuff that she wrote. I don't know. Do I have really much more to say about Ingeborg von Agassiz? If you're local, check it out. Otherwise, go online, look her up. That is how it's spelled. Oh, Giver of Dreams is the title of this album. You should look it up and listen to it because it rocks. Should I tease a couple other things without really talking about it at all? I think I will, because I've got two things here. I own these two on vinyl, and they came with CDs. Probably only 3 of the albums I ever bought came with CDs, CD copies. I think it's cool that they do that. Often vinyl comes with download codes. That's common, and I think that's cool too. You don't see CDs as much, or at least I don't. So yeah, this one is original, not the same as the vinyl. I will talk about both of these vinyl records. They're both noise. I'll probably get around to making videos about them. But yeah, those are my car CDs. There's actually a few more in here that I could talk about, but I think I will do much shorter videos on those ones, individual videos on those CDs, rather than cover every single thing I can right now. So yeah, I think that pretty much does it. Thanks for watching. It's amazing if you're still watching 48 minutes in right now. These are CDs that sit in my car and don't get played. Good night, everybody, and be kind.